Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. While Wuthering Waves 2.8 might seem a little bit disappointing to some individuals, I'm actually in the boat that the events that are lined up for this update actually look pretty damn fun. And one of the feature events that's here for this update is none other than Stranger Things. That probably threw off a lot of people in the global audience. But yeah, that's literally what this event over here is called. Stranger Things in Honami. And this is the flagship event of the patch. There's a lot of rewards available at a baseline. You can see Astrite times 1200. It lasts for the entire duration of the patch. It's a 5-week patch, by the way. 3.0 should be launching near Christmas. And there's a lot of information that's actually going to be available for us to preview when it comes to how this event is going to work, all of the mechanics that are going to be in there. And what I wanted to do today was actually just go and get right on into it, see what we have in store, and then give my thoughts on how I view the overall design of this experience. So let's get started over here. Nice little photo of a female Rover and Chisa just, I guess, goofing around in the train with, good old Capybara driving. I don't know how I feel about him being the one in control of the vehicle, but it is what it is. So yeah, we got Stranger Things in Honami, a combat event. And after the end of Honami's looping crisis... Isn't that a spoiler? Okay, I guess we fix whatever's going on in 2.8, and then we have this event available, so great job. I knew we were gonna solve the problem, but hey, you could have told us in a different way. It is what it is. Namipon from the Shasho Cafe contacts you to request you and Chisa's help in investigating a series of strange occurrences throughout Honami City. So that's kind of like the setting. Some weird stuff is going on, and you are going to be with Chisa Holmes, to go find out whatever the hell it actually is. You're also going to get some supplies to renovate the cafe. So a little bit of like base building and stuff in there. So this is going to be one of those permanent events that we always have in Wuthering Waves, where there are going to be some time limited rewards that's mainly consist of like Astrite and upgrade materials, and then they'll have some permanent stuff that still stays there afterwards. So you can think about it this way. It's basically going to show up in this tab when the event is over, and you can see there are like some familiar events over here like Phantasma Dreamland and stuff like that. Other permanent events. But the thing is that I think this is actually going to be a lot more similar to Banner Never Falls, which was a combat event where we went around the city. We're just going to be doing, hopefully, something similar to that in Honami City. And you can see over here, as long as we don't have like that weird like leisure event label, I think we're looking pretty good. All right, now we've got some of those administrative things out of the way. Let's go ahead and keep on reading. You're only going to need to be Union level 14. I don't even know what this is. I assume that this is one of the pretty early on quests in the game. So, yeah, hopefully you'll have that one done. Hopefully you have the Chapter 2 Oh, wait a second. Oh, wait a second. No, this might be... Hold up. This is the second quest in 2.8. So you will have to complete all of 2.8's main story, I do believe, to access this event. Never mind. Yeah, I thought this was like Chapter 2 in the game, but that wouldn't really make that much sense, would it? So this event is going to be story locked. And there's going to be a lot of story to get through to reach it. Like, you're going to have to do all of the Renacida arc, all of the entire Renacida arc to do this. That's going to be a little bit rough for some players. Yeah, I think that Kuro should maybe look into this a little bit. Basically, if you're a player and let's just say you started in this patch, you will essentially have to play through the entire story in a 5-week patch cycle, and then also complete this event on top of it to get all the time-limited rewards. So, to everyone saying it's permanent, great. I love that it's permanent, right? You'll be able to access it whenever you want. You want to know what's not going to be permanent? Rewards like this, that are like time-limited. You can see over here, remaining, 1 day, 11 hours. That's kind of a lot of shit over here that you're not going to get because it's time-limited. So my take over here is that this is an event that gives 1200 Astrite. A good number of those Astrite, as you can see, is tied to the time-limited rewards that you're seeing over here. Again, these are the time-limited rewards. That's why there's only 1 day, 11 hours remaining. There's a lot of progression, a lot of stuff that if you're a new player, you kind of want these. Yeah, I think most people would say a new player really likes rewards like these so that they can build their fucking characters. These are essential to progression, and not being able to access them in the version without bum rushing the entire story is a bit rough. Because guess what, guys? If you're a veteran player, Astrite, experience tubes, all of this, gold upgrade mats, all of this stuff isn't really as important to you. Because you're only using it on the new character. New players are using this on like every unit on their account because they're a new player and need to level a bunch of people up. I really think that this is a bit of a rough approach to have to complete all the story, essentially all the story in the game to be able to access, and let's just review this once again, time-limited rewards. This is a time-limited event with time-limited rewards. There's a permanent component, but there's still a lot potentially missing out. And great, they show the rewards too. 1200 Astrite, Phantom False Sovereign skin, Avatar, title, and modifiers. I just think it's a bad experience overall for new players to rush through content because this is a game where the story is actually very good and skipping through it to rush it is an awful story experience. But once again, players are being incentivized to ruin their experience in the story to be able to get the resources to progress in the game. And I think that is a conflict that shouldn't really be happening for the maximum amount of player enjoyment. That's my take. All right, now let's move on and actually start taking a look at some of the mechanics over here. We've been through a little bit of a spiel. Explore Honami City in search of supplies and uncover the truths behind anomalies in the city. This is what I was talking about when I said like the Sherlock Holmes exploration component. There's going to be a little bit of work that you need to do to get into the fights. But I think that as long as people see the vision and they see like the process and it's a frictionless, fun, engaging process, I don't think there's too much of an issue at all with this, but we still have to see what some of the mechanics are actually going to be. Next up, stability is a resource that I guess you'll have that kind of like exists as you explore. It'll decrease when attacked, and if all stability is lost, the exploration will be terminated and all items in your storage bag will be lost. Okay, so there's like a little bit of like a risk factor in here where you can't get into too many fights. You can't like hoard all of your mats. You're gonna have to return to base, restock, resupply, get your stability back up to continue exploring and doing all of that. So there's even like a bit of like, I don't want to call like a roguelike component, but it kind of does feel like a bit of a roguelike component, right? The need to like go back home, that sort of stuff, conserve your loot, that sort of thing. Pretty neat. Then we have the support, Namipan. Unlock more Namipan support and Namipan stickers as you investigate and venture into yet unexplored areas. Okay, so they're gonna have like some sort of like overarching system. I'm pretty sure the Namipan stickers are gonna be used in the shop to get some rewards. All right, next up, you can book the Namipan shuttle from a telephone booth. I like the aesthetic that's going on over here. This area actually looks really nice, which lets you safely extract at any moment and return to the cafe. Okay, so they literally, it's almost like a permadeath looter shooter. In a sense, you got like extraction points and stuff like that. You go out and you gather loot. You can't explore for like too long or you'll like die from exposure to like the elements and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a little bit like Arc Raiders and Tarkov built in. Once again, I just hope that when it comes to the actual implementation, the restrictions, the need to extract, the need to like manage loot, do all of that stuff feels fun as opposed to a nuisance or a chore. And part of, like, the fun in a game like Arc Raiders or Tarkov is, like, the fact that you're, like, oh, you're, like, looking over your shoulder. You're, like, oh, man, is someone about to, like, blick me when I'm, like, 3 feet from the exit? All of that. Do I have, like, you know, like, do I have enough loot? Did I gather all the stuff? Is it worth taking this additional risk to hit this one extra spot right before I extract? As long as that, like, fun, that decision-making, all of that, the risk is there. For example, having higher rewards, right? Being able to progress a little bit faster if you decide to explore while your stability is low, that's a potential mechanic that could seem cool, right? The lower it is, the better your loot is. So you gotta like balance whether or not, oh, am I gonna risk losing all of it or am I gonna go for the gold, do a little bit of that extra stuff, and then you're gonna be like overjoyed, right? You're gonna be overjoyed to see one of these after you decide to like take on the risk and you're successful. If they have dynamics like that built into this experience, that's gonna elevate this to the next level. And I don't see why they would add this sort of like extraction mechanic if that risk wasn't going to be there. So hopes are very high for how this works. All right, now let's take a look at the Nami Pawn Aid, the overarching upgrade system you're gonna have to, well, probably make your exploration, make your investigation, and make your character stronger. Okay, Nami Pawn stickers can be obtained by eliminating tacit discords, breaking destructible objects, or opening supply chests. And stickers come in different types, which offer different enhancements and base stats. Okay, so you got a bit of like an alternative gearing system. I like this. This actually reminds me of what we had during the cubic, and cubic combat event. I actually like this. I know there's some people that are like, oh my gosh, it was in the 2.3 anniversary, so it had to be the worst event ever because it was in 2.3. There's some people that are still like that, right? I think this event was actually very fun. It had progression, it had upgrades. I like customizing my cubes. I ended up with like a crazy Cartithia cube that was like shooting swords for like 30 seconds. It was fucking sick. And that game mode actually had a full progression system over here, right? Where you're going in, you got like all these cubes, you got like all these crazy unique power-ups that do all these ridiculous fucking... It's still here. It was still fun. Like, now I got all these prismatic upgrades as well that I was like going for. It was a fun progression system that made me feel like my cubes were actively getting stronger and then gave me a lot of incentive to keep grinding to get better upgrades to make my cubes even stronger. And as long as they have something in here with the Nami Pawn stickers to have that same sort of like feedback loop, I think it'll work out well. This is how, in my opinion, you combine the mini game feel with combat. Because now people are going to be having, right, the mini game search to get like all of the little coupons that they want, activate like coupon set bonuses, find out which coupons synergize with each other, and then, you know, go like optimize, have fun from there. They've taken like the ingredients and the pieces, and it seems like they're going to make something very fun out of this. Next up, Nami Pawns. Oh, different Nami Pawns are attached to specific stickers. Equip the corresponding stickers to activate. I remember saying that the stickers were going to have a set effect. I didn't actually know that was going to be the case. It just made sense. So yeah, stickers will then also have a set effect that activates when you collect them, and then you get special bonuses. It just made sense, right? It just made sense, because that's how game design works. Now let's look at the Nami Pawn Assist. Oh boy, they're gonna fight with you. Nami Pawns will assist in your exploration of Honami City. Selecting different Nami Pawns will allow you to cast various support skills while exploring. Fun. Good. It kind of reminds me of the cubes that they had set up, because the cubes were the support. Yeah, the cubes were the support for your gameplay and your characters. So yeah, hopefully they just have like a wide variety of skills. This might actually be where parts of the cube event actually come through. You'll probably have some offensive cubes. You'll probably have some debuff cubes. You'll probably have like some shielding, sustain, buffing cubes, or sorry, not cubes, but Nami Pawns as well. That could probably be something that occurs. Maybe they'll have like the Nami Pawns dress up as the characters, and then the stuff that they do is similar to what the characters do. Imagine like having like a Shorekeeper Nami Pawn, or like a Jinsei Nami Pawn, or like a Phoebe Nami Pawn. Wouldn't that be sick? I hope they put that in. All right, now let's look in and take a look at the other minigame component that I think is going to be in here. And that's going to be the renovation of the Shasho Cafe. So you can see over here, there's a bit of a inventory management piece. Everyone's got their special little Nami Pawn. They've also got their special stickers as well. So yeah, you'll sell loot items from the warehouse for rice dangos, which can then be used in Honami City to upgrade cafe decor, unlock the sticker slot so you can have more set effects and more stickers on you to get stronger, upgrade Nami Pawn badges, which I assume are like these, and then make item purchases in the supply station. So you'll collect a bunch of stuff, sell them for a bunch of resources, probably have some very, very high value items. I see that there's a can of soda over here. I bet it's well preserved. It's probably worth a lot. Probably still carbonated after all these years. That's why it's got the special, that's why it's like a red value item and everything else is common. Stuff like that, right? That I think they're going to have in there. So item rarity, all of that should be a bit of a fun time. And then apparently, when you bring any legendary quality unequipable loot item back to Shasho Cafe for the first time, the item will be displayed in the gallery. And, well, you'll get Astrite for collecting these bad boys as well. So you even got, like, little, like, chase goals to go ahead and search for, like, you know, a little bit of fun little Astrite. I'm pretty sure this is a permanent component, though. So if you're on a bit of a time crunch, right, the event only has a couple of days left, or you just don't want to sink your teeth into it, this is probably something that can just be saved for, like, the permanent runtime. Because this looks like something that's not going to be... This is definitely not going to be time limited as a reward. That 10 Astrite over there. When it comes to upgrading the cafe... You can upgrade the decor to give you all sorts of perks during exploration and unlock more cafe features. Probably things like more extraction time, more stability, higher loot rate, more starting money, blah, blah, more backpack or inventory space. It'll probably be like stuff like that, right? Where you upgrade the decor so people that have like the fun little, you know,
oh, I want to make my hideout look as nice as it can be.
That'll be essentially stat bonuses for your actual playthrough. So I think it's a good way to satisfy a lot of people in the situation. But yeah, that's going to be the entire event. And as you probably heard and as you probably saw, this is one of the most feature-rich and potentially one of the most fun combat mini-game exploration events I've seen Kuro come out with. They seem to have a like loot, inventory management, resource management component over here for people that like that. They also have a companion component where you got your Nami pond over here. You'll be able to look at all the cute little capybaras going around and I guess summoning fucking portals of death over here. Then you also have set bonuses, character building, grinding out different stickers and different Nami ponds, finding out the stuff that synergizes the most to get like the strongest performance possible. You've got like the grind over here. And then, of course, you have the entire extraction looter-shooter experience where you have, like, stability going down as you go through more fights. You're balancing the risk of getting good loot with losing all of it because you run out of stability. And then you have the ability to go right back home right after having a good call or having a good haul. That, to me, sounds like a pretty fun overall experience. I just hope that the big ticket items that I talked about, right? Adding the dynamics of risk, making sure that the grind actually feels fun and there's like all these reasons for progression rather than feeling like you have to. And of course, and I think this is the big piece that I didn't talk about, I hope the fights are actually fun. I hope the enemies have like specific buffs. I hope there are some enemies, right? Or some like groups of mobs that are like actually not possible until you grab some other mobs on the map. I low-key want the experience of adventuring into a level 90 zone when I'm only level 1 and getting fucking destroyed. Having that again in a minigame like this would be very fun. Because that was low-key one of the more interesting parts, right, of Wuthering Waves early on back in 1.x. Accidentally finding a group of, like, red level 120 mobs and then getting fucking destroyed by them because, well, you thought you could take them on. I'd love to see something like that in here. And it makes sense to kind of like split up Honami City in like a bunch of different zones that require different progression. Banners Never Fall did a similar thing. And I also hope that the really hard areas with high level opponents, if there are there, because they probably should be, I hope that they're also beatable when you just go in raw as well, as long as you know, grind enough, play sweaty enough, do all that sort of stuff. I hope they have all those components, kind of like a choose your own difficulty thing, high level areas for people that want more difficulty to go experiment with, and I think it should be an overall great experience, because they did something like that similarly in Banners Never Fall, but Banners Never Fall was purely combat. This looks like a combo of Banners Never Fall with like the cube event, the fishing event, a bunch of other things. And this could potentially actually be the best event that Wuthering Waves has ever had. That's what I'm going to say. It seems like it's combining a bunch of great elements together from well-received events, well-received features, and seems to be, hopefully, like improving upon them for this iteration. So yeah, I'm very excited for this. Excited to see how it pans out. It is, again, the only real issue that I have with this event is the fact that it's initiation requirements, being able to start it, that's a little bit rough. I really think it's really rough to require a new player to play through the entire story of the game. Maybe they skip 1.0, right? But they still got to play a bit of 1.0. I think there needs to be some type of quick access feature. I think there needs to be some sort of quick access feature, because this is the thing. Either you spoil part of the story and let them do quick access, or they have to literally skip the entire story or cram in 20 plus hours of story into their playtime this month. I think it's low-key better to just have minor spoilers given to them and then they experience the story at their own pace versus how much of a 20-hour story are you reasonably even going to like understand or take value in when you consume all of it that quickly. You probably won't get a lot of value up from it afterwards. So I do think that they figure something like this out. I think it just needs to be quick access and they need to like bite the bullet when it comes to, okay, potentially spoiling a small part, okay, maybe a large part, but like a part of the story for a newer player. Because losing out on all these rewards, losing out on all this progression, that's worse. Most people would say this is probably, they'd be okay with a minor spoiler and be able to get all of these. I think most people would, most gacha gamers would be like okay with that, but that's just me. So yeah, that'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be it for this coverage. Very excited for this event, but it does have a pretty nasty catch. But yeah, Stranger Things in Honami is looking pretty damn good. So we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.